Good morning, ladies and gentlemen, and thank you for joining us here on this special day of remembrance. My name is Lieutenant Colonel Lyle Holbrook, Commanding Officer of 400 Tactical Helicopter Squadron. Sunnybrook acknowledges our campuses are located on the treaty territory of the Mississaugas of the Credit First Nation and ancestral and traditional lands of the Anishinaabe, Haudenosaunee, Ojibwe, Chippewa, and Huron-Wendat nations. Please stand if able for our national anthem sung by Second Lieutenant retired Scott Newlands.
O Canada, our home and native land, true patriot love in all of us command, qu'à ton bras et porter l'épée, il sait porter la croix. Ton histoire est une épopée des plus brillants exploits. God keep our land glorious and free. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee. O Canada, we stand on guard for thee.
Please be seated. It's my pleasure at this time to introduce the President and CEO of Sunnybrook Health Sciences Center, Dr. Andy Smith.
Lieutenant Colonel Holbrook, honored veterans, family members, special guests, staff, volunteers, and members of our community. My name is Andy Smith. I'm the President and CEO of Sunnybrook Health Sciences Center, and it is my pleasure to welcome you on behalf of our 12,000 physicians, staff, volunteers, students, and the Board of Trustees. The Sunnybrook Veterans Center is proudly home to 275 of Canada's war veterans. It is the largest veterans center in the country, and in fact, started out that way when Sunnybrook officially opened as a military hospital on June the 12th, 1948, by the Right Honorable Mackenzie King. It was the start of a long tradition of dedicated care for our country's war heroes. Looking at our current times, we are acutely aware of the unprecedented levels of change in many aspects of our lives over the past few years. There were upheavals of the pandemic for all of us. The long overdue social awakening in our country and around the world also has had a big impact on us. And as the thought of images of tanks rolling across borders in Europe, something we thought was a thing of the distant past, has now unfortunately emerged again, we are aware of the elements of conflict, the elements of fascism are not lost to history. We see the emergence of it in every corner of the world. Our fight for democracy continues. We continue to learn through events, and we must always remember the sacrifices of each veteran for the sake of our freedom. We look to our veterans and their unwavering courage and dedication to help get through the challenging times, and we look to a brighter future. We needn't look too far. We recently saw 50 of our veteran residents join the newly established 100 Club at Sunnybrook Veterans Center, a club that is exclusively reserved for those 100 years of age or older. Many of these centenarians are included in a new exhibit called The Last Salute, which is being soft launched with the veterans themselves this week, and in 2023 will reach beyond these walls here at Sunnybrook so that their stories can be shared with others. In a few moments, you will see a video preview of this special project. On this day of remembrance, we pause to remember all of our veterans, living and fallen, as well as our current servicemen and women in the Canadian Armed Forces, for they are also in our hearts and our prayers today. Stay safe, and lest we forget.
Thank you, Dr. Smith. And now, as promised, here's the video tribute to our veteran centenarians, the last salute.
War doesn't make you unhappy. You're with a lot of other people, and they provide you with a lot of memories, and you never forget them. That's what I think about. Although I was never afraid of death. No. You walked up to it, you went through it, and you came back, if you were lucky. I cry when I think of some of them.
Some of the men that you knew and were close to?
Yeah. The tears go. Oh boy. Yes. Remembering the past. Never forget them. No. Because you carry them on your shoulder. They were your memory, and you will never, ever forget them.
Wow, what a beautiful tribute. National treasure, all of the veterans here at Sunnybrook Veterans Center. At this time, Sylvia Brackvogel, the Operations Director here at Sunnybrook Veterans Center, will read today's lesson.
Good morning, everyone. The lesson reading this morning is from the prophet Isaiah, chapter 2, verses 2 through 4. It shall come to pass in the latter days that the mountain of the house of the Lord shall be established as the highest of the mountains, and shall be raised above the hills, and all the nations shall flow from it. And many people shall come and say, Come, let us go up to the mountain of the Lord, to the house of the God of Jacob, that he may teach us his ways, and that we may walk in his paths. For out of Zion shall go forth the law, and the word of the Lord from Jerusalem. The Lord shall judge between the nations, and shall decide for many peoples. And they shall beat their swords into plowshares, and their spears into pruning hooks. Nation shall not lift up sword against nation, neither shall they learn war anymore.
Thank you, Sylvia. In the interest of safety for all, you can see that the wreaths have been already laid in front of the podium today. Dr. Jocelyn Charles, Medical Director for the Veterans Center, will be announcing the memorial wreaths that honor our veterans and the sacrifices they made.
On behalf of the Government of Canada, Rob Oliphant, Member of Parliament for Don Valley West. Veterans Affairs Canada. On behalf of the people of Don Valley West, Rob Oliphant, Member of Parliament. On behalf of the people of Don Valley West, Stephanie Bowman, Member of Provincial Parliament. On behalf of the City of Toronto, City Councillor Jay Robinson. World War I veterans, World War II veterans, Korea veterans, Afghanistan war veterans, Canadian Armed Forces, Merchant Navy, Women's Armed Forces, Royal Canadian Legion, Ontario Command, Nursing Sisters Association, Army, Navy, and Air Force Veterans in Canada, Royal Canadian Legion, Tri-District D, E, and F, Canadian Forces College, 32 Canadian Forces Health Services Centre, 400 Tactical Helicopter Squadron, the War Amps of Canada, Sunnybrook Health Sciences Centre, Toronto Paramedic Services, wives and widows, and children.
Thank you, Dr. Charles. We now have the pleasure of hearing veteran resident Stan Dinney recite the famous poem by Lieutenant Colonel John McCrae, In Flanders Fields.
In Flanders Fields, the poppies blow. Between the crosses, row on row, that mark our place, and in the sky, the lark still bravely singing fly, scarce heard amid the guns below. We are the dead. Short days ago, we lived, fell dawn, saw sunset glow. Loved and were loved, and now we lie in Flanders Fields. Take up our quarrel with a foe. To you from failing hands we throw the torch. Be yours, so hold it high. If you break faith with us who die, we shall not sleep, though poppies grow in Flanders Fields. This was by Lieutenant Colonel McCrae. And my father was World War I, and he said these words were true. Believe it or not. Thank you. And I say goodbye for now.
Once again, it's my pleasure to introduce two more veteran residents, Mary Bell and Ken Eason, who will recite our selected reading today titled, The Old Yellowed Picture.
The old yellowed picture. An old photo hangs on my grandmother's wall, a soldier so handsome and young. I asked her one day about this young man. A tear to her eye did come. My brother, she said, he went to the war. With others he left to go fight. He was young and fearless, and he smiled when he said, "Don't worry, I'll come back all right." Many months passed and letters arrived. We prayed he'd return. We repaid. He survived.
The newspapers told of the terrible war, of ravage, of suffering, and killing, and more. Did he ever return? Then I looked in her eyes. My grandmother's tears spoke the reply. He gave up his life for you and for me. He died in battle so we could be free. The old yellow picture that hangs on the wall is no longer a stranger, but a hero to us all. Amen.
In a moment, we'll be paying our compliments by the colors. Last Post will be played by Kevin Major. The Lament will be played by Master Corporal Paul Turner of the 400 Squadron Pipes and Drums, followed by a moment of silence, then the Rouse played by Kevin Major. I invite you to stand now, if able, to pay our respects to the fallen with these selections. Veteran resident and president of the Sunnybrook Veterans Council, Richard Radcliffe, will now give the words of honor and the final blessing.
My name is Richard Radcliffe, and I'm the president of the Veterans Council at the Sunnybrook Veterans Center, one of 275 veterans. Thank you very much for being with us today, wherever you may be watching or listening to this service broadcast. On this very important day, I am pleased to say a few words on behalf of my fellow veterans. In 1948, the Sunnybrook Military Hospital was officially opened. There's a tremendous history here at Sunnybrook, and I can't think of any better place that I would rather be. We have enriched programming, a quality of life are all provided by Sunnybrook and Veterans Affairs Canada. On behalf of the veterans living at Sunnybrook, I would like to give our heartfelt thanks for the exceptional care by every member of our staff, physicians, clinical teams, and for their tireless service, ensuring our health, well-being, and safety is maintained. It is my hope that the youth of Canada will carry on forever the message and pledge of the phrase, lest we forget. This phrase is the promise to Canada's war veterans, as well as a pledge to never forget the lessons learned in 2 world wars, the Korean War, and Afghanistan. I will conclude this service of remembrance by offering words from a Celtic blessing that I dedicate to our comrades still living, our comrades still serving, and their families. May the road rise up to meet you. May the wind always be at your back. May the sun shine warmly upon your face, and the wind strike slowly in your service. And until we meet again, may God hold you in his hands. Amen.
Thank you, Richard. Please stand if able, while once again we hear Second Lieutenant Retired Scott Newlands sing God Save the King.
God save our gracious King, long live our noble King. God save the King. Send him victorious, happy and glorious, long to reign over us. God save the King.
This concludes our Remembrance Day service for today. We encourage all of you to take a moment from time to time at other times throughout the year and remember the sacrifices that our veterans have made and the freedoms we enjoy because of them, lest we forget. Thank you very much for being with us for this very special day of remembrance today.